Friends, in Jeremiah 15, Jeremiah says, "Thy words were found, and I did eat them, and they became for me the joy and the rejoicing of my heart." He goes on to talk about, as a result of embracing the words of God, that he had to sit alone, filled with indignation, because all of his sensitivities to the burden of Jehovah, in light of the behavior of the people, led him to be considered a false prophet, because all the prophets that were prophesying the party line, everything's fine, we're not going into captivity, God's going to turn this around, proved to be lies. They did go into captivity. But here's what I want you to see about Jeremiah, a true prophet. When he says, "Thy words were found, and I did eat them," he's not talking about some word that came to him from prayer. That doesn't mean that there weren't charismatic dimensions to his ministry. He's going back to Torah. As with all the Old Covenant prophets, they meditated on Torah, and they delivered the burden of the Lord based on what Torah revealed to them by the Spirit in relationship to God's expectation for his people, to energize them based on his covenant promise and give them hope to move towards a messianic future. When any sort of a charismatic word came, it would be in direct relation to the things going on in the people where violations to Torah had come. Not the sinners, the saints. And the posture of Jeremiah was, he felt like God had become to him like waters that fail and are uncertain, like a deceitful brook. And God basically says, "Jeremiah, I need you to abandon this mistaken tone of distrust and despair. And I need you to cleanse your heart of unworthy suspicions about my faithfulness, so you can speak faithfully on my behalf." There are so many psychological projections that are being uttered as thus saith the Lord these days, and the undiscerning are gobbling it up without any canonical, biblical, textual precedent for saying it, for believing it. But because someone says God's saying this, we fall into the same errors that the people of Israel did under the reign of those who imprisoned Jeremiah and only wanted other people that prophesied what the king wanted to hear. Popularity has nothing to do with the prophetic. Cross-bearing does. I pray you have a great weekend.